oh, let's fight. You want to fight me? You want to throw hands? It's just like, and everyone's like, no. He doesn't really mean that. It's okay. Shh, sit down. But it's just such a horrible look for the U.S. But an even worse look for the U.S. would be actually starting a war with China.
Yeah.
I feel like that would, that everyone thinks Ukraine is bad. Starting a war with China. Where do you even see that going, Grant? Would it happen?
I don't see it going well for the U.S. I mean, the U.S. could conceivably win a war against China, but I think it would be a hard-fought war, and there would be a lot of lives that would be lost on both sides. So it's certainly not something that I think is worth it. I support Taiwan if they, want to be free from China. That's great, but at some point you have to make decisions of, how many American lives are we going to sacrifice for that cause? And I think that number is, in my head, not very high, and certainly not to the height that it would be should we get in a war with China. It's not a good trade-off for the United States.
Right. It's one of those things where it's like, oof, that's some pretty high stakes to be playing with. And there is the understandable argument of, Taiwan is in the chain of islands that are generally very Western friendly. So, Okinawa, it's close to Japan and Korea and the Philippines, which are all much more Western oriented, and China doesn't love having that right on their doorstep. So that's understandable on both sides of the argument of the U.S. wanting to protect that and China being like, no, get away. But I don't think it would give any grounds good enough to then just be like, all right, we're going to militarily intervene. Here we come, Afghanistan Part 2, just in Taiwan. We're going to make it, South Pacific now. It's like a reboot.
And that's the other thing, is that I don't even trust our military as a whole right now. I think there are great people in the military, and I think everyone who serves the country is great, and we appreciate their sacrifice. But I think the leadership in the military is so warped. They're so worried about these woke ideologies that they're trying to force on the members. And I know people in the military who have told me, like the people who are there and who are serving don't want to be fed this, but it's the leaders who are saying, oh, you need to do this. You need to be diversity trained. You need to do whatever the left tells you, basically. And they're so focused on that I don't even think we're in any position to fight a major war. I think our military is pretty weak right now because of the leadership.
Yeah, and I mean, the leadership, it's awful to see the deterioration of the military because it's all the paper pushers just kind of, trickling down bad ideas down the line. And I don't see this going well. I mean, we've already started to see a deterioration in our military officials and the entire military. And I'm like, good Lord, 2 more years of Biden. Is it just going to get worse? All these kids who would normally join the military just don't want to do it anymore because they don't want to, jump through the hoops and they don't want to go through all the woke liberal crap.
Or kids even who went to military school or something. I'm talking about a specific friend of mine. So
yeah.
He went to a military school and he thought that the military was going to be his career. He was so excited about it. And now he's got this 3-year deal, that he has to do because he went to school. And so you have a 3-year contract. And he's like, as soon as I'm done with that, he's about 2 years in. And he's like, as soon as I'm done with that, it's over. And I'm getting out of the military. And it's sad because I remember him being so excited to serve the country. And that's what he wanted to do. And he's very smart. He's very good at it. He knows so much about history and all those sorts of things. But he just can't take it because of how woke it is. And now you're driving people away who would be great for our military, and you're driving them away because they don't want to deal with this.
Exactly. And it's, the typical progression of military is, you work your way up through the ranks. And so, your friend, I have friends in the same exact boat who it's like in a better situation, they would be the ones getting promoted over the years and ending up in leadership. And that'd be great in their leadership roles. But then they're like, nah, never mind. So it's just going to leave the bad leaders in place who are just degrading everything, and it's just so sad.
So then you're just filtering out all the good soldiers, and the only ones that you have left are the leftist ones who agree with the leadership and what they're pushing, which is just the worst thing that could possibly happen for the military.
It's just the worst. And I want to just keep telling everyone, I'm like, you have to remember, you can have all these problems with American society. The economy is falling apart. We don't like our politics. But I'm like, at the end of the day, the military should be kind of the last line of defense, and it's actively being broken down. It's like when we lose everything else and our culture is just shot to pieces, great, now we can even be attacked. And it's just a nightmare. And I think with all of this stuff going on with Taiwan, I think China completely sees that, and they're like, this is a great opportunity. Here we go. We'll take Taiwan. Bring it on.
Yeah, and when these woke ideas first started being pushed in the Biden administration and started being distributed in the military, we were certainly, we have presences in a lot of places, but it wasn't an immediate threat. And now we've had 3 situations in Afghanistan, Ukraine, and now in Taiwan that, I'm not saying that we're at war or anything like that, but they're very immediate situations that could at some point require a military intervention. And that just makes this woke ideology that's been forced on the military so much more immediate, because you're like, okay, like it was bad when they were teaching it, but now that it's like we actually might have to fight a war, now it's like that much worse, because
you're like, this is so much worse.
It's so immediate, and you just feel the potential effects that could be really bad for the country.
It could be terrible.